far, nobody else is here, but I do got links in there if somebody wants to join. There isn't crap out there. Had fun on the NFL Roundtable Talk last night. That was a blast. So come on in. You want to talk some football? We got 8 people watching across the platforms, and funny, we have 8 platforms. That's great. But make sure you hit the like button. That helps the algorithm for all of these different platforms, no matter who it is you're following, whether it's Viking Rob, D. Roy, Ken the Bear Fan, Huddle Sports, my page, Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions, YouTube or YouTube for both Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lions and Huddle Sports Network, and of course the Roku channel. And look at that! Already she's here. It's Sarah, the Bike Queen.
Howdy.
Howdy. Did you watch us last night?
No, my internet went out.
Oh, that sucks because, I know you've seen this one already, right?
Hmm.
There's this one too.
I don't see what they are.
It's supposed to be like representing the fans, and that's a Vikings fan that shows an empty trophy case, the skull horn, a water bottle, oat milk, and a carrying bag from the barber's market. The Detroit one shows the guy and it says Thanksgiving loss above his head, shows the paper bag, Flint water, and a bottle, some malt liquor,
I want to see
or
the
closer
Caleb
notice.
one.
Yeah, I haven't got that loaded yet because that's on my phone, not in the computer. But I'll get that over. It's funny. That Funko Pop one.
I saw the LeBron one. It was funny. He was in a maid costume.
Yeah, you want to hear what's crazy? Is I went to that court case yesterday. Remember, I said I wasn't going to be there
Yeah.
because I had to be there at 1. Sat there for an hour. My public defender didn't show up, and I negotiated a better deal than what she had a place.
Oh, I learned that lesson the hard way too, because I had to go to court and I got a public defender, and he did absolutely shit. Yet I had to pay court fees for it. I was like, but he didn't do anything.
So
it was all over for a speeding ticket.
Well, I'm an official public pretenders. Public pretenders are their name from now on.
Yeah, I was not happy about having to pay a public defender to do shit for me.
I hear you. So, any news on the Vikings front?
Nope.
Nope. Same here. It's the same shit, different day. It is off-season recycle day. But last night I asked these questions of my fans, the fans of other teams that was on my show, and I'll ask you. Out of the positions of need, and I know you only got 4 picks, and I know you actually have 4 holes to fill by what they say is the needs of the team, correct?
Huh?
There's 4 holes to fill and only 4 picks, is what I'm saying. According to what they say, the needs are on all this websites for the Minnesota Vikings. You guys have 4 needs and 4
bullshit on those. But I think the 4 positions they're listing, they're more like, yeah, we need depth on it, but it's not like it's a glaring need where we need to invest a first round pick on it.
All right, we got a few comments in. We have Motown Mitch and Trace, and they did their pleasantries back and forth as well, saying hi to us. And Moonscar Blade, good afternoon, all. Lunchtime with JB and Sarah, the sassy Bike Queen. Hey, Trace, and the rest of the kneecap soup sippers.
No, we were discussing JMO trades and what.
And I don't think it's happening because Brad literally just came out in the presser the other day and said we are putting the 5th-year option on JMO. So I don't think he's being traded because they were going to trade him. They wouldn't do the 5th-year option. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
They would let the other team have a chance at it. Bill T in the house. Good to see you, Bill. Hey, we got we got our favorite person, Yoli.
Hi, Yoli.
And then, of course, like I said, good to see everybody. Yeah, we're just. I was gonna say, if you have 4 needs and you only have 4 picks, who is like your top that you want?
Kenneth Grant.
And I don't know if he'll be there when you pick is the problem.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
mean,
mean?
like he's like all over the mock because I've seen him go higher.
I've seen him
I've
go as
seen him.
high as like 12, I think it was, is the highest I've seen him go in the mocks I've done. And then I've also seen him go at like 22, which would be right around where you guys are, if I remember right. Aren't you the 24th pick?
Yeah, well, I've done a few mocks where I got him at 36, which is not believable. But then, like, I mean, like, he's a pick I really want. But at the same time, if we have the option to trade down, I think I would rather trade down than take him. Because I think this draft is filled filled with more depth pieces than with starters.
Gotcha. So, and I was with Mike Johnson, the other Viking fan that's been on my podcast before. I know you've seen him because you've commented when he's been here. He doesn't have the really long beard anymore. He had to chop it off. So he looked totally different. I was like, who the hell are you? Where'd Mike go? I've been saying that because I have a friend that writes for him, and I've been saying this, and everybody said I was wrong. Cam Ward is not landing with the Titans, and neither is Shedeur Sanders. I heard it's Abdul Carter. And if you look at their defense last year, they need him.
They need a lot of things.
Oh yeah, they need a wide receiver. But I would, if they're going to take a wide receiver at one, the only one I'd take is Travis Hunter, and then you'd have to placate him and play him on both sides of the ball, which is going to cut down the snaps on both sides of the ball. Correct?
I'm
You don't
not
want an infield.
placating to some guy who's never taken a snap in the NFL. I'm gonna call his bluff, and it's like, so retire then.
But I still agree with my original assessment. They'll start him out at wide receiver because that's the easier transition, and let him work out with the defense in practice, and eventually move him in when he's more comfortable with the NFL way of covering wide receivers. Does that make sense on how I'm saying it?
Yeah, but I don't know.
But
I would just
but I mean,
let
if
him.
if you're if you got a two-way player, like Charles Woodson, he still returned punts and kicks. He occasionally lined up at wide receiver while he was a pro, but for the most part, what did he do? He focused on his craft at corner because he was a better corner than a receiver. So he did the same thing. What I'm saying is Travis Hunter, if you actually look at his numbers, he's a better receiver than he is a defender. So
But he's not.
you take him.
To me, he's not a really a good receiver either.
He was third in yardage in all of the NCAA and fourth in touchdown.
Yeah, and how many yards did he have?
He was second in yards overall. He
I
had
know,
over
but what was his total yards?
1,263 yards in 13 games.
Yeah, that is super low. That's why I'm like, I'm not high on
In
him as
13
a.
games, that's almost 100 yards a game. That's actually average in the NFL right now for an average receiver.
He was in the what Mountain Conference? Put him.
No, they're not in the Mountain Conference anymore. Colorado moved to the Big 12.
Okay, so they were in the Big 12. The Big 12 don't play defense.
No, the Pac-12 don't play defense. Get it right. The Big
No,
12
the
has
Big
defense.
12 doesn't either. The Big 12 is all offense. And I don't know. I don't think. I mean, because if you put him, if he was a wide receiver, is he a top 10 wide receiver? I don't think so in the NFL. And I don't know. I think this kid is getting way too much hype. I'm not as high on him.
So other than that, so I went through the list because I know that there are like 3 or 4 glaring holes on Detroit that we need to address in this draft. And I don't care what anybody says. They say no, we don't need a wide receiver. Yes, we do. And it's not because of JMO or Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's because after them, you got Khalif Raymond, who can't stay on the field. You got Tim Patrick, who's held together with scar tissue and duct tape, who's going on 32 years old, I think he is now. And then you got a bunch of whole little role player types that can't really take any massive snaps, correct? You know what I'm saying? For our depth.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind it. They go one of two ways. In the second pick round, if you get Xavier Restrepo, the kid out of Miami, fantastic. 'Cause I don't care about his height. I care about the fact he's a great route runner. He's got speed to create separation, and he's got great hands. He had the third lowest drop rate in the NCAA last year.
I
So,
think you guys. I I I I,
but
I
in the
think you
first
guys
round,
taking like at
in the first
28. I can see you guys drafting a wide receiver.
no, I don't see that. What I see, because they already got one $30 million wide receiver, and when they extend JMO, it's going to be in between that $25 and $30 million range because that's the going rate to use him.
JMO is not worth 25 to 30 million. I'm
He
sorry,
missed
but he
two
is
games
not.
and still had over 1,000 yards.
I'm sorry, but if I am not paying him 25 to 30 million for 1 year.
Yeah, so that's some current news. Calais Campbell went back to the Arizona Cardinals, and it was announced today that week 1 of the NCAA season, it'll be the last week of Lee Corso on College game day. He's retiring.
No idea who he is.
He was the one that started doing the props to announce who he thought was going to win the game of the week every week on ESPN on College game day. But if you didn't watch college football, you didn't pay attention to that anyway. That was all the pregame hoopla.
I don't know, but I think you guys would be crazy to pay JMO 25 to 30 mil a year.
Considering there's wide receivers out there making $35 to $40 million a year, that's going to be the
Is
going rate
JMO
for.
any of them? No. JMO's not even
You
better
didn't
than
wait. Whoa, whoa,
Devontae
whoa,
Smith.
whoa, Sarah, listen to what I'm saying though. The top flight ones make 35 to 40 million. I'm saying he's going to make average wide receiver, which is going to be in that 25 to 30 million range. That's what it's going to be going forward.
But he's not worth that.
Doesn't matter. That's the going rate of the position.
Devontae Smith is better than him, and Devontae Smith doesn't even make the what? The 25 to 30. Devontae makes under
He's making
30.
32 million on an average. He makes 32 million on an average. Devontae Smith. I've got him under him. His average rate is
Devontae
32
Smith
million
does not make 32 million.
on his new extension that he got last year. When it starts, it's 32 million a year. Is the average per year. He got a 3-year, almost $100 million contract.
Yeah, but he's better than JMO.
And I'm paying him less than him. You didn't hear me. I'm paying him almost $10 million less.
But JMO's not even worth 25 million.
And I think you're absolutely ludicrous.
Sure, Jeremy. I'm just saying, JMO's numbers have not shown that he would be worth a $25 million receiver.
Every year he got better on touchdowns. Every year he got better on yards, and every year he got better on drop rate.
He is not even a wide receiver 2 on some teams, like the Eagles.
We're not the Eagles, so I don't care.
I'm just
That's
saying.
not wide, but that's not wide receiver 2 money anymore. That's wide receiver 3 money that you're paying him between 25 and 30 million.
That is not wide receiver 3 money.
That is what the going rate of wide
30?
receiver 25 to 30 will be wide receiver 3 rate because the ones and twos are all making 33 million or more.
It's
Even
gonna go
Motown
back. It's gonna go back down. I don't believe it.
Richard Head, how you been, buddy? JMO is not worth resigning. Name me a rookie you're replacing the talent with. Amen. Most NFL teams already said that JMO is worth at least 18 million at a minimum.
18 million is a far cry from 25 to 30.
I bet you by the time it's done, it's going to be 25 to 30 million. Because that'll be what the going rate is after everybody gets their re-signing. And by accepting the 5th-year option, you get to wait a year. And with the cap is going up, so naturally players' salaries go up. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The going rate is where the market moves each year. If the top wide receiver, which is Jamar Chase, made $40 million this year, next year, guess what the top receiver that gets paid is going to get? $45 million because it goes up again. That's
I
how
don't
it
think
works.
so. I think teams are gonna put a stop to that.
Everybody says that, but it hasn't happened yet. We're at $40 million wide receivers.
Yeah, but
Everybody
if
said
you
it was.
look at the
Everybody
quarterbacks this year, they started paying like Sam and Gino and all of them. They got under 40.
because that's all they deserve. They're not elite.
Yeah, and Jamo's not elite, so why is he getting 25 to 30?
That's not elite money. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. You're not listening. It's not elite money.
It's crazy
Anything
money.
over anything over 30 million is elite money. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and I'm saying that Jamo is not worth 25 to 30. That's all I'm saying.
And I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
But I mean,
Every
I'm
year
not
he
the
got
one
more.
that's going to be paying him, so it don't matter to me.
He goes, been good smoking Jeremy B. A little behind with my NFL news. Yep, and Calais Campbell re-signed with Arizona, so they got their ragtag batch of defensive ends. They need a defensive end this draft too, and I expect them to go that way in the first round. But at the back end of the first round, I think we're going defensive end or guard.
He was solid for Miami. I don't know why they didn't keep him.
Sarah, all the NFL coaches said he is worth up to 25 million and a minimum of 18.
That's what coaches said saying. But I mean, like I said, I've seen his play. Okay, I'm not paying him 25 to 30 million.
You
I'm
watched every
sorry
game of the
to
Lions.
butthurt
Yeah, wait.
about that, but
Whoa, you watched every game of the Lions last year that he played, or did you watch just
I
the two you had?
I'm saying from the time he was drafted until in 3 years, he hasn't done shit.
Well, that's
I'm
because the
sorry
first
to
year he didn't.
butthurt
Whoa,
about
whoa,
that.
whoa! Don't yell at me. Let me explain. First year he was out for 11 games, right? He still came in and had almost 500 yards in touchdown, and he only played, I think, in 3 of those games. After that,
And like I said, I'm sorry if you disagree with that, but I mean, he's a guy I'm not going to pay 25 to 30 million for when he hasn't produced much in 3 years. And I mean, I
and
think
look at
you being
that. I got everybody but you saying that he's an absolute.
yeah, because all of you guys are Lions fans.
That's not a Lions fan. He's a Patriots fan.
No one. I've talked to a bunch of people too, and no one is paying JMO 25 to 30. Why don't the Pats pay him that then?
What?
I said then they should trade him to the Patriots and have the Patriots pay him that.
No, we need him. He opens up the field for everybody underneath. His deep threat ability is what keeps Laporta and St. Brown and everybody else
Yeah, and yet Laporta's numbers went down.
because he was injured for half the season.
But then why didn't JMO's numbers be higher if Laporta was?
They were higher.
They were
Double
higher
his-
by like how many yards
double
did
his-
JMO have?
What? He hasn't played that many games in any season, right?
Exactly.
So
That's another point.
well, it wasn't due to injury though. Look, because I've been called a Jamer hitter, and even I say whoever ends up paying JMO, he will be getting 25 to 30 million.
Y'all tripping.
Do what? Because that's going to be the going rate for wide receiver threes. That's what I'm getting at by the time they get the deal done. Because with exercising the 5th-year option, they're going to be paying him another year down the road before they start paying him. Do you know what the 5th-year option is on a wide receiver starting next year?
I don't.
$22.5 million for a rookie on a rookie contract in the 5th-year option.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't. He's not worth that to me.
But the rate says he is because that's what he's going to get. That's what we're not telling you what you think he's worth. We're
Yeah,
telling
and
you
I'm
what the
saying if I was
position
a
value is
team,
worth.
if I'm a team, instead of paying him that, I'd rather just draft one.
But you better
He
find one
hasn't
with the
shown
exact same.
anything.
Yep, he's shown a lot more than you think because you just aren't watching the games. You're just looking at the final stat line, and you're going, "Oh, he played 17 games, and he's never played 17 games because of suspensions lately." It was 4 games the one that year, and I think he had damn near what was it, 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then last year, he had over 1,000 yards and almost 10 touchdowns, something like that. He exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, but he's. I mean,
And
to me,
he didn't play 2 games, and he still exceeded my expectations if he played all 17 games.
he still is underperforming his draft spot where he was picked.
That's funny because everybody in the NFL said he finally earned his draft spot last year.
No, he
Everybody
did
in the
not.
NFL on NFL Live, NFL Network, Fox
So
Sports, even
is that the gospel?
and plus we had 2 guys that rushed for over 1,000 yards. So that takes away from passing yards. I just don't like being yelled at for something that I know is going to happen. Yes, sir, Brent. We're talking about JMO. I'm just saying the positional value. By the time it's done and he gets paid, he's going to be making between 25 and 30 million because it doesn't that amount of money doesn't come into play till 2 years down the season. That's why you do
Well,
those
I
fifth
mean,
year
if
options.
you guys pay him, you guys pay him. But I mean, that's not my problem to deal with. So
Just like you did last year, Brent.
how am I a hater? I'm just saying that JMO is not a top 2 wide receiver. I mean, I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but he's not. There are way more better wide receivers too than JMO. He's on the low end of a wide receiver too. He is not at the top end of a wide receiver too.
Sarah is just you're used to Addison and Jefferson.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so there's 32 teams, right?
Oh.
So I'm trying to see where Jameson ended up. There he is. Guess how many yards he had? Guess where he ranked in the yardage for the entire league. And that's what's missing 2 games, Sarah. He was 24th in the league. He had more than Puka Nakua. He had more than DK Metcalf. He had more than DJ Moore, Tariq Hill. He had more than T. Higgins, George Pickens, Marvin Harrison Jr., Johnny Smith. He had more than Jordan Addison, who played the same amount of games. Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman. He had more than Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith only had 833 yards last year. Amon Ra was third. Jameson Williams. There he is. He was tied for
Sorry, I went to go have a cigarette outside.
Yeah. Jameson Williams had more yards than Devontae Smith and Jordan Addison last year.
Jordan Addison had more touchdowns than JMO.
In the same amount of games. That's all I'm saying. Actually, they were tied at 7.
Jordan Addison had like 9 or 10 touchdowns. He didn't have 7 touchdowns.
That's where he was in that list of the 7 that I said tied for 13. Let me look again.
In 2 years, Jordan Addison has 19 touchdowns.
Okay. I was wrong. But he's in the next group up. That's all I'm saying. They weren't that far off. I think this year Gibbs is going to be 1,000. One more yard after the catch than Justin Jefferson. Jameson had 58 catches. JJ had 103.
JMO had 1 more yard than Justin Jefferson. JMO had over 1,500 yards.
No. He said yards after catch. He had 1 more yard after catch, not receiving, not total receiving yards, the yards after the catch.
Yeah, but so what?
That's a huge thing for people. Yards after catch is important. That means you don't go down at first contact or they can't catch you.
So, but if they can't catch him, then how come he only has like that many yards? Look, I'm not saying JMO is a bust, but I think you guys are way overvaluing JMO.
Yep. So tonight you'll be seeing me talk the UFL, United Football League.
Yeah, we saw our bust Kelly Mond.
Yeah, he's still a bust, ain't he?
He had a chance to lead the Brahmas down for a game-winning field goal, and he pulled a Kirk Cousins. They needed 5 yards to get into field goal range. He got 2. Kicker missed. Game over. And now I understand why Mike Zimmer says, I see him every day in practice. There's no reason for him to play. Who's playing tonight?
No, we're actually doing a talk on it. I don't know who's playing tonight yet. I'll have to look all that up. But
I don't know. I guess it's good for him to get reps if he wants to get back into the NFL.
Yeah, he's got about as much chance of getting back in the NFL as Matthew Betts out of the CFL.
Because you're going to, I think Trey Lance should have gone to the UFL to get reps.
UFL, CFL, anywhere to get reps. He needs to learn how to play against competition better than college. And the only way to do that is to play somewhere, right?
Right.
And he's not going to do that as long as he's a backup in the NFL.
Well, especially, I guess if he's going to get paired up with any coach, Harbaugh would be the coach to help him along, I guess. But I think, isn't he like quarterback 3 for the Chargers? Because I think Taylor Heineke is still there.
Right. So he'd be the third stringer again.
Yeah, but he's making money for doing nothing. Yep. I'd take that any day.
Yep, he is the third string quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers.
But if I were him, I would get myself to somewhere where I get a chance to play to get live reps in order to try to revive my career.
Even that other bust, Johnny Manziel, tried to make himself better in the CFL at least.
Oh, he went to the CFL?
He went to the CFL, and then it got so bad because he was so into the partying and everything, he almost committed suicide.
Damn.
There's a documentary on Netflix about it.
Yeah, I don't have Netflix anymore because I don't have T-Mobile anymore. I used to get Netflix for free.
Who you got now?
Huh?
Who do you have now for a service provider?
I have cricket.
Oh, yay. Love cricket.
Because like, well, when I was with T-Mobile, I got Netflix for free because I had a account with
Right.
T-Mobile. Yeah,
Right. It's
and
just like, yeah, if you got the Walmart Plus account, you can get Paramount Plus for free. If you got this, you can get that for free. All of them have something for free.
yeah, but since I don't have T-Mobile, I don't have Netflix.
Yeah, I think with cricket you get Pluto TV for free, and that's free already.
Yeah,
I'm going for a laugh factor on that one. I gotta always find the light silver lining somewhere. But
but I
other
don't
than
really
that,
watch TV to begin with. So,
so for me, the Lions, I think they should go either guard or defensive edge.
what
So
guard is available at 28 that would be worth picking up?
Tate Tate Rutledge, Tate Rutledge out of Alabama.
Do you think he's worth a first round pick?
Yes,
I've seen him like in the second rounds, but
no, I think he's a late first round, early second. He won't make it to our second round pick, is what I'm getting at. So if all the good defensive edges, the top ones are gone, and you have the choice between seeing if an edge will fall or him, there's a lot more after the first round. There's going to be a lot more teams going to that offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll get their defensive players in the first one if we don't get one, right?
yeah,
So you could take him there at the back end because we're at pick 28, which is
right,
essentially, you could take him there and it's not that much of a reach, is what I was getting at.
right.
And
And with those offensive linemen, you want to be able to give them a fifth round option. I mean, a fifth
right,
year option.
right, because his first year he's not even going to have to play because we have starters all across the D line already, or the O line already. So
Who's
you're going to
replacing
get him.
Zeitler?
Zeitler, they're going to put Glasgow back at right guard because he did better the year before there than he did at left guard. And Christian
Hmm.
Mahogany, when Zeitler was out the one game and Glasgow
Yeah.
had to move on the other side, Christian Mahogany, our rookie last year, you couldn't tell the difference if it was Glasgow or not. That's how good he
Mm.
played. He played better than Glasgow did, is all I was getting at. So
So is Glasgow a tackle or a guard?
he's a guard. He's the right guard.
Oh, okay.
He was moved to left guard because we signed Zeitler.
Okay.
So,
So who's your left tackle?
Georgia, excuse me. Our left tackle still is Taylor Decker. And JB, do you want Goff to be? Do you think, or do I want Goff to be better this year? I don't know if he's ever going to get better than 4,500 yards again. And so I think he's at his ceiling. Wouldn't you agree there?
Yeah.
At the 4,500 yards, that's probably his ceiling because he's done it 3 years in a row now. It's been 4,500 yards, somewhere between 20 and 32 touchdowns. And he always has half as many interceptions as he has touchdowns. So, 2 to 1, that's it's not elite, but it's not bad. It's very good quarterback play when you have that type of touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah, I
The
think
only
golf has kind of reached a ceiling too.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get any better, but I don't think he's going to get worse right away because he's in his prime. I think he's at his peak level, is what he's at.
Well, like quarterbacks like Goff and like Kirk and Dak, they aren't gonna tank your team,
Right.
but they have a certain ceiling to them too.
And all of them require a great team around them to be successful.
Right.
I mean, because if you look at the one year that he did get to the Super Bowl that year, they had a top 3 rushing attack. They had a top 3 O line. They had a top 10 defense, right? When they faced the
Yeah, right.
Patriots that year. And everybody wants to throw bag on Goff because he threw 1 pick in the entire game. But everybody forgets that Brandon Cooks dropped 2 passes. One, he had no one around him. He'd have been walking in from 15 yards out. The other one, he was in the end zone. Josh Reynolds, at the end of the game tying touchdown, he dropped it. Gerald Everett dropped a touchdown in the end zone. And I think Josh Reynolds dropped another one on the way to the end zone. So that's 4 big drop passes that could have changed the swing of that game. Because drop passes are more on the receiver than the quarterback if it hits them in the hands, right?
Right.
So,
But then
you
the
know, you,
Patriots had a good defense too, so
but at the same time, 4 guys wide open dropped the ball is what I'm getting at. There was no defenders around them. It wasn't because they were batted away or anything like that. So, in that game, I don't hold it against Goff like a lot of people do because he only threw 1 pick, and the final score of the game was 10-3. It was the worst Super Bowl ever watched in my
Yeah,
lifetime.
but like I don't know, I like you said, I think quarterbacks like Goff and Dak and all that, they need all these things around them, and
Right,
if one of those things gets injured, it it affects them.
right. And it wasn't just one piece of our defense that got injured last year. If you remember right, we had what, 6 of them out?
Yeah, that's why I mean, like I don't know, I don't think he's worth the money that you guys are paying him, but
Well, if,
at
if
the
you look
same,
at if you look at it by the average per year, it looks horrible, right? But when you look at the way the contract's structured, we actually didn't pay him that much. We only paid him 27 million last year. We're only paying him 32 million this year. That's why I said this contract was constructed as a 2-year Super Bowl or bust contract because the balloon payment in year 3 is $69 million, and it saves money to cut him, right? So in these 2 years, if we don't get to a Super Bowl with him, they're going to cut him, or they're going to, or if they do, he does get us there, they'll restructure him to make it a more palatable salary. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
I mean, in that case, if you look at it, because they did it that way, it's perfect. Because Hendon Hooker was drafted 2 years ago now, right? We're coming into that last year of the Super Bowl window. If he's got to get us there or not, and I'm not saying it's going to happen that he doesn't, and I'm not going to say he does. I'm saying this is what their expectation is because that's where the team level is at to the organization.
So let's say if he doesn't get there, do you see the team cutting him?
It's a
Because
possibility, or trading him away, or trading him
next year
away.
it would go 69, right?
Yeah, it goes to $69.2 million.
Okay.
So there's no reason to pay that for any quarterback, right?
No.
So what they'll do is they're either going to restructure him if he gets us there, or they're gonna trade him away or let him walk or whatever. Take the hit because it saves money in the long run,
Right. I
and
mean,
that
like
makes
I wouldn't even pay the like the 49ers are like, ooh, thinking about paying Brock. I'm like, I wouldn't even pay Brock.
I think that would have been the perfect place for a certain guy we all hate. That's where he should have went.
Who? But I'm thinking maybe he's still waiting because if the Niners don't extend Brock and let Brock get traded or whatever, it'll open up spot for him. That's why I don't think he's in any hurry to sign with the Steelers because he's still waiting to see if certain teams open up.
So with John, it's not Johnny Morton because Johnny Morton was the wide receiver. This is John Morton. Everybody keeps saying Johnny. It's not Johnny Morton, guys. So it's going to make. I don't think it's going to make Goff go backwards. I think what you're going to see is less of that Ben Johnson touch of the offense, which was the trick plays. You're going to see less of that. You're still going to see the play action. You're still going to see everything else. But what Johnny Morton did, he was here in that offseason that Ben Johnson first became the OC and he was putting the playbook together. He was there with him, helping him develop the playbook for Goff. So I don't see much of the basic plays changing. I think we may see something different instead of trick plays in there. That's all. Does that make sense what I'm saying, Sarah?
Sorry, I have you on mute. I'm using the bathroom, so go ahead and
Oh,
talk.
God, never mind. I said that. Okay, gotcha. So because he didn't get hired to the Jets that year until just before the camp started. So he was there during that offseason that they said Ben Johnson and Goff are putting a playbook together, trying to look at all his film from the Rams to put a playbook that has his strengths in it. And if you look, a lot of those plays looked exactly like what the Rams still run. Woody back. Yes, what's up, bro? And we got Andrew Merklinger in here. Can't wait for the draft. We're officially 1 week away. It's Christmas for us football fans. It's Christmas for the ones in the top 10.
What happened to your buddy, the Giants guy?
Oh, Dan, he was here last night.
No, no,
Uh,
no.
he-
Vildemore or Vildmore or whatever.
Von Doom?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Von Doom, he was here last night with me on the NFL Roundtable Talks because he's working for Pepsi now, so he's not available during the daytime.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I have a third interview next week with Progressive Insurance. So if I get that job, I won't be on either. So Morton is from the Rams?
No, Morton was he came from the Rams. He went to another team. Then he came to us in the 2021 season when we had Anthony Lynn and all them.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that next off season, because he had prior playbook building experience, and this was Ben Johnson's time as a first time offensive coordinator, he helped him develop the playbook for golf in that off season, the 2022-2023 season. And then just before camps got started, he got hired to be an assistant OC somewhere else. I think it was the Jets.
For what year? 2022.
2022.
Oh, okay.
And then in 2023, he went to the Bucks. And in 2024, he went to the Broncos. And he helped with Bo Nix. So he has a habit of developing. And I think that's what we brought him in because he's more of a developer than just a play caller. Because we have a guy that needs to be developed behind golf. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Goff, you're not going to get any better or any worse play out of him. He's going to be what he is. He's either going to be really good or he's going to be really bad. There is no in between.
Well, golf is pretty much developed. It's just being able to call the right place for him at the right time.
And that's what they said. Dane Campbell addresses that basically
What?
going to be called the plays. It's just my internet going fuzzy. It does it all the time whenever there's a change in weather. But Jared Goff is going to be calling most of the plays on the field now. And so, yes, you're probably going to hear kill, kill, kill because if he reads blitz, he will read it off into a run play. If he sees where they're doing a run blitz or a stunt formation that'll stop the run, he'll audible into a play action. You're going to hear that kill, kill, kill stuff. You're just not going to see many trick plays come out of it like you did.
So, what do you think Pittsburgh's gonna do?
Pittsburgh probably, if he falls there, they're either going to take Shador Sanders or Jackson Dart. I think that's what they take at that 21st pick that they got.
But do you think Rodgers will still end up there?
No,
Do you think he's just gonna retire?
I think he's going to be sitting there doing his Huska and wake up and go, oh, it's time for the season. I'm done. Yeah, he'll retire. He's going to go down to that island with Biggie and Tupac.
I don't know. I see a possible opening in San Fran for him.
There might be, but I think that if San Fran was going to do that, they'd have did it earlier. Because I said that was probably the best landing spot for him because
Yeah,
of the
but
whole Brock Purdy thing. Because of the whole Brock Purdy thing, and they don't know if they want to pay him that much because he's the last pick in the draft. He's only making like what 700,000 a year.
yeah,
So
yeah, but I
I
mean, like, if they can't work out a deal with Purdy, I'm saying.
well, he's still under contract, so he has to play either way, or he doesn't get paid. He'll miss all the games check. I
When
don't
does
see Lions
OTA
drafting free.
start? When does OTA start for everybody?
Well, I know that the rookie camp starts, and then it's the mini OTAs. So usually it's about 3 weeks to a month.
Oh,
Where
for
you got
some
the
reason I thought OTA started next week.
no, they have that mini OTA camp that they do right after the draftees, just to get everybody comfortable with one another, where it's just the rookies and the second year players. That that's all they'll do next week, after the draft.
Okay.
Veterans won't report probably for another month after that because then they come back and have the actual rookie mini camp.
Then how come like the Bears and all that have already started?
The
I mean,
guys people are asking me about the draft. I don't think Green is a fit either. He's more of a 3-4 guy, and Kelvin Shepard already said our defense is going to stay with a 4-man front, but it'll be a 4-3 instead of a 4-2-5. More of a blitzing defense than what we had, which is going to help us out tremendously. But with adding that extra linebacker, I wouldn't be surprised if we take a linebacker in this draft, probably around round 3 or 4.
who do you see would fit that?
That Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma State. He's in that mold like Malcolm Rodriguez. He's one of the shorter, more compacted, fast guys, but he hits like a sledgehammer, and he's from the same college as Malcolm Rodriguez, who's only in his third year. So he actually might know him still. Give some, get that familiarity because a lot of teams do that when they get a guy that's good from one team, they go and get the next guy that's good from that team, so they got that camaraderie already. We see it all
Right.
the time.
Right. That's right. I was thinking maybe we should draft that linebacker from the Gophers because then he played with Cashman, and he's a
Right,
lot.
right,
Huh?
and he could be young. He could be a younger version of Cashman to be mentored by him to take over because Cashman's starting to get long in the tooth.
Right.
I mean, there's all sorts of things that are smart to do. You know, if you got somebody that's good, grab them. But at that 28th pick, if we stay there and don't move up or down, the guys I see that we could get. Oh God, probably more kills, but anyways, the guys that would be there more than likely is that JT Tamalauso from Ohio State, that Donovan as from Boston College. They had all the sacks there in the ACC, and I don't like to say, yeah, he had a great year at 16 and a half sacks, but in the ACC, you only got 3 good O lines, and the rest of them are kind of trash. You got Clemson, you got Florida State, and you have Miami, and that's it.
Well, that's why I'm kind of skeptic of Genty.
Genty, I still think he'll be like at for his average yards per carry, he'll be a David Montgomery type, at 3.8 to 4.3 yards per carry in between the tackles, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of running back. That's what I see him going in the NFL. Which there's a job for those guys in the NFL.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but I mean, I don't see him being worth a like top five pick overall. You know.
I don't see him as that. I don't see him as that, but it will happen that way. You know what I mean? It's because he's been so overhyped because he damn near. If you add in his playoff yards, he broke Barry Sanders' rushing rate record.
I don't know. Like, I don't think there's like a running back. I don't know. Like running backs, I don't. I just don't see the value of drafting them that high.
I know. Well, it looks like the talks are done
Talks are done.
with Zadarius Smith. He did not get a contract.
Oh, so he's not
So
returning.
it so it's up to his agent and Smith to initiate talks for a resigning. I'd rather have him than Davenport.
I wonder what the offer was for him.
Well, I know it's less than the 11 million that his contract said. Otherwise,
Well,
he'd
I
have
don't think
signed.
he's worth that though.
No, I think he's worth probably about the $6 to $8 million guy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
I think that's where they're trying to get him at, is in between that 6 and 8. And I think the whole thing has to do with guaranteed money. He wants more guaranteed out of it.
because then I see him now at this stage of his career. I see him more as a rotational piece, and I don't see him playing like every down 17 games.
Broski Bear enters the chat. Brent, Woody, JB, and Sarah.
Hey, broski.
But it's been a great day, and we're almost to that time again, Sarah. We're at the end of the day. Um, you say you do a space on Twitter on Fridays, right?
No, not me.
Or your friend does that you're a part of or whatever?
Nope.
Not anymore?
Nope. Oh no, because my friend passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so he was the one who runs the show, and so we don't do that anymore.
So Brent wants to hear it before I go, and I got to do it for him. And
All
you
right,
love it when I do this too.
later.
FTV. Block the pack. It has been my pleasure to sit here and talk football with you today. Thank you, Sarah, for joining. If you go back in the chat, I want to say thank you for being a guest on the show. It's almost draft time. Roski? Thank you, Moton Mitch, Brent, both Brent DeWitt and Brent Harpozo. Thank you, Woody Fox. Thank you to Andrew Merklinger. You guys are great. I mean, every day I get between 80 and 200 messages on the show, and I love that because that's what I do it for, is to talk to you guys, to get your insight, and sometimes to answer what you want insights on. But like I was saying, at that pick where we're at 28, that JT Tomaloso, that guy, and if you're gonna reach on an edge at that point, the guy I want is Landon Jackson. Landon Powder Jackson out of Arkansas, 6'6", 260 pounds. Jim Jackson coming in late. Got to do it for you, buddy. There she goes. Haven't seen Corey for a while, but he was in the comments the other day. It's great to see him too. I want to say thank you again. We just discussed a little stuff. I mentioned that. I just mentioned that if JMO gets re-signed after his 5th-year extension, because it looks like Brad Holmes has said he's all but got it done. He's all but done it. All it's got to be is a signing of the line. I think he ends up with a $25 to $30 million contract when all said and done. Just because all the top flight ones make more than 30 million to 40 million. He was 24th in yardage last year. Which means there were only 23 players better than him in yardage, and Jordan Addison wasn't one of them. Stretch the field wide receiver. He had more yards than Devonta Smith, who she said he's not better than him. Lions are 11-9 versus the Green Bay Packers in the last 10 years. That's a great one. But thanks for watching, everybody. You have a blessed day, and don't forget, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody. Peace, love, and chicken grease.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.